Hi everyone, Katja here, doing something a little different for this channel. A tag. I know, when was the last time I did a tag video, and why did I stop making them? Well, you'll find out in this evolution of a Booktuber tag, which was originally created by the wonderful Jack over at Spread Bookjoy. And this is probably the first tag I've done all year, maybe even in the last 2 years. So when Jack tagged me, I was really pleased to see that it was about Booktube itself rather than about books. This tag is a great opportunity to reflect on how Booktube has shaped us, what inspired us, what's disillusioned us, and how we've grown or scaled back for personal reasons, and what we hope to do next. So I really enjoyed thinking about these prompts, and let's dive into them. Prompt number 1, extinction. Are there things you used to do on your channel that you no longer do? And there are several. So when I first started my channel, I didn't even know that Booktube was a thing. I recently heard Marilyn Maya Mendoza mention how some people join Booktube for fun while others join as grinders, and I certainly don't fall into grinder because I just didn't realize. So let's start with my ignorance. In 2020, I stumbled upon some book related videos on YouTube, but I didn't realize they were part of a larger community. Even though I like to say I'm not spontaneous, I saw those videos and one day I decided to sit down and talk about why I loved a book. So a few weeks later, I saw the Booktube newbie tag and I thought, oh, I found a community. And yes, I do now know about BookTok and Bookstagram, but back then I didn't know that either. So, with the pandemic in full swing and my decision to end a long term relationship, I suddenly had more time on my hands than I ever thought possible. And since I was working from home, yay, and saving on money on commuting, I invested in a camera and a mic. Though, let's be real, you can totally start with your phone, but I enjoyed getting that equipment. It felt like I was letting myself be creative for the first time in a long time because my work is very much project oriented and healthcare. So this was such an opportunity. In fact, I got really creative in that first year and made 2 or 3 different intros with music and transitions. But then I realized while I love those intros for home decor channels like Alexandra Gator's, where they go ding 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 and build up the anticipation for you to see these houses, for books, I don't need that. I just want to jump right in. So I cut the intros. And over time, I've gone from speaking just off the cuff to having light scripting to remind myself what I want to say. Originally, I thought scripting would be really inauthentic, but it actually helps me organize my thoughts. So I often finished videos and thought, "Ugh, I forgot to mention X." Scripting solves that for me. It allows me to say everything that I want. And so I finish a video and I don't have that "Ugh" feeling. It's a tool rather than a restriction. I also experimented with monthly wrap ups on and off, because a community poll showed that they were popular. But for the last few months, I've stopped doing them here. And that's because the end of the month, waiting to share books for then really took a lot of the enjoyment freshness out of it for me. And I want to share when I've just recently read a book, because it keeps my enthusiasm there. And I think that comes across in videos. So you'll notice now I prefer to talk about individual books as and when they inspire me. Sometimes it's because I want to recommend them. Sometimes it's just because I thought they're really odd. The only time I actually enjoy grouping books together is when I theme them, like top 10 books with quirky main characters. So that's a wrap or something I can get behind. And finally, tags. I did a lot of them in my first year, but they started to feel really repetitive, and I found myself recycling answers, and I didn't like that. I want things to be fresh and engaging and fun, so I shifted to other types of content. Prompt number 2, adaptation. What have you done on your channel as a result of Booktube that you never thought you would? And that would be live streams and YouTube shorts. I haven't done a ton of either of them, but with live streams, I've really enjoyed the ones I've hosted. My last one with translator Shana Tan was over 2 months ago already, and the engagement was amazing. We had such an insightful conversation about translation, and one of my subscribers, Yuklimka, shared that Taiwanese publishers often release translations faster than other places, and I had no idea about that. So it turns out that a lot of the Korean Japanese fiction that I like gets translated in Taiwan long before we ever see an English version over here in the UK. So live streams provide that real time connection with the community. And I love the spontaneity, the conversations that come from that, and the learning and the sharing. So if I could manage my schedule better, I'd love to host more. Another surprise has been the connections I've made with other booktubers off platform. So, my live stream tech support and inspiration, Margaret Pinard, gave me the confidence to try streaming. And I haven't met any booktubers in person yet, but with my health improving, I'm getting out more and exploring bookshops. So, meeting some of you in real life is definitely on the horizon, and I'm so looking forward to that. Then we have prompt number 3, evolution. How has Booktube changed you, and what do you aspire to do with your channel in the future? Now, Booktube has changed me in ways I never expected because initially I hadn't really realized much about Booktube. I thought I would be one of the older Booktubers or an older person talking about books. Don't laugh at me. I only saw a few videos about, books from people who are in their 20s. Then I did the Booktube newbie tag, and that was a revelation. People of all ages commented and welcomed me into the community. So the age range on Booktube turned out to be wonderfully diverse, and I was so thrilled. I started with lots of enthusiasm, very little thought, and early criticism really could have knocked me back with my confidence. Just a handful of comments on the channel, but also in my social circle. So I think the way that I've grown was to see these comments as stemming from people's own insecurities. Don't let that shake you. I've realized that resilience comes from knowing why you're here. If you're doing this for the love of books, the numbers aren't the point. Yes, you don't want to feel like you're shouting into the void, but even if you have just a few regular commenters, um, subscribers that chat to you about books that you love, that's a success in itself. I mean, my own circle, aside from the book group that I started, not very many people talk about reading. Now, looking forward, I want to experiment more with bookish travel. I've already taken you to Cambridge and Norwich, taken a couple of my friends who said they never thought that bookshop tours would be so much fun. So I'm excited for more of those trips. And by the way, Norwich, the City of Stories, is hosting a brand new festival, book festival from 24th to 27th of October. So if you're local, do check it out. I also dream of filming beautiful bookish spaces like the library in Amsterdam. So, if you live there, that's such a beautiful place. Or the Dominican church that was turned into a bookstore in Maastricht. Sharing these places with you brings me so much joy, and I wish I had filmed more on my past trips, but really, it just means I have got so much more to look forward to in revisiting some places I had been to and filming, and visiting new places too. Then we have a bonus prompt: impart your words of wisdom to fledgling booktubers. If it's not fun, I'd say don't do it. It's easy to get caught up in trends or schedules, but if something starts to feel more like a chore, then just step back and reflect on what you enjoy and keep that passion alive. So, this space is your space, make it yours. Don't worry about trends. If you're not into it, you're not into it. Don't worry about fancy gear or editing when you're starting out. Use what you have, whether it's a phone or basic editing software. The first year, I think it's important just to get started and find your voice. And yeah, just be patient and enjoy. I think that's the main thing. Enjoy it. And finally, don't be afraid to engage with the community. Comment on other booktubers' videos, join tags and readathons, and most importantly, be yourself. Also, don't worry if not all connections end up being permanent. Some new content creators are super active in the beginning, leaving lots of comments and engaging with others, which is a great way for them to get to know the community. But it's also normal for that to really slow down as their own channels grow and people get busier or focus on their core content. So I'd say, don't be disillusioned by that. Some booktubers that you're close to might actually stop booktube altogether and perhaps drop out of communication. That's it. It happens. And I hope that you're not too disillusioned by that, because there's so much wonderful about the booktube journey, and I'd love to hear about your own booktube journey. If this is the first time you're seeing the tag and you want to do it, then consider yourself tagged by me. And thank you, Jack, for creating such a reflective tag. I don't know how many times I've said tag. Anyway, and for highlighting that I had forgotten my own booktube anniversary, fourth booktube anniversary, back on the 13th of August. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and take care.